Are you ready to learn to get rid of stress in your life? To learn how to deal with the emotional turmoil that causes strokes, heart attacks, bad health, and even weight gain? Life-changing habits for work, family, and everyone you deal with start here with Andrew Wittman. It's time for Get Warrior Tough on WCCP. 105.5 The Roar. Here's Andrew Wittman.
What up? All right, welcome to Get Warrior Tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. I'm joined today by my partner, Steve Umphlett from
We're talking golf.
Talking golf, man.
That's
You're
right.
the man. But you're in the Clubhouse, right?
We are. Well, it's
Tell me
Clubhouse
about
Golf Radio.
Tell me about that.
Clubhouse Golf Radio. It is everything, Andrew, that people love and like about golf. It's food, wine, travel, beer, interviews with the people around the game of golf, but not just the PGA Tour players, because, people get tired of hearing that. You can watch Golf Channel, and it's very one-dimensional. We take a different approach at Clubhouse Golf Radio, and I like to go out. I've been doing this for years and really talk to the people around golf that influence it, from the food, the wine, the travel, the places you want to go, but also like to integrate in what's going on around the tour, because let's be honest, there's 188 cities around the United States that they go to, whether it's Champions Tour, Web.com, or PGA. And, man, there's some just awesome places out there that maybe you don't always think about, and there's a lot of players and people behind it.
So it's the golf lifestyle as well as the golf. So, okay, now I love this about your stuff, because guys like me, we're never going to be great at golf, but we love the golf lifestyle. And so you kind of hit that for us, right? I mean,
well, for example, you're like me. I used to play competitively a long time ago in college.
That ain't like me, man. You're better than I am.
And I realized my best day in college was like, their worst day. Like, I'd go out and shoot 70, 71 and thought, wow, I just blew the doors off this thing. And the PGA Tour guys that are out there today competing, and they're going, oh, that was terrible. They're not going to make the cut. So I kind of backed up and did a lot of interviews and realized, what does the audience really want to hear? And it was a lot of the fun things. They were like, I'd love to go to Wild Dunes, or I'd love to go play Whistling Straits, where we're doing the PGA Championship this weekend.
Wow.
Believe it or not, that's open to the public. It's a resort. It's pricey, but man, it's like close up there with St. Andrews. I mean, it is
really
phenomenal. It's awesome. And so you can go out there. There's a ton of food, shopping, travel, great guys weekend, great couples weekend, things that really influence it. The food out there, Andrew, is probably among the top venues I've ever been to in the entire United States.
Well, and you've been around. I mean, I follow you pretty. I stalk you on Facebook. I'll say it
cool,
like that.
Cool.
And,
it's good to have those occasionally.
Yeah, man. I live vicariously through you, because you're always eating fine food.
I love it.
Yeah, you're just a class act, man. This is what I always feel like I'm raising my level by just looking at your Facebook page, man.
Well,
and then going to your website.
You know what's funny? You say fine food. Can I tell you, one of my favorite locales to go to is when you can go find those restaurants in a city where the PGA or the Champions Tour is going. And I'm going to give Hickory, North Carolina, as an example. Some of the best barbecue on the planet is made right outside. Yeah, for real. And Memphis. So people from Memphis that are listening to the show today need to understand that, I go and I get to travel, and the people think, oh, it's all fine dining and snooty country clubs and high-end stuff. Some of the best places you find when you travel around for golf are those hole-in-the-wall barbecue pits that you go around, or some of the local local food that you've got. And I've been lucky and blessed enough to be able to do that. Dallas, Texas, to L.A., to Pebble Beach, all over the country.
That's what I'm saying. See, I live vicariously through you, man.
I try hard.
You're the man.
I try hard. No, you're the man.
No, man, this is awesome. So now we kind of married up because of golf and mental toughness kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. I'm going through the course and absolutely love it.
Oh, so you're in Mental Toughness 101?
Yeah. And thank you from me for my son. You're kind of
because your son's going through it too, right?
He's 14 years old. So whoever's
That's
out there
so good.
listening today, some people would take it, Andrew, and go, I really have to be, 35 or 45, 55 cents. I approached him middle of the summer, and for the listeners out there, he was having some. You've met him. He's really cool, and he has his things going on. But I wanted him to really get it early on in life and adopt the right things to do. And, he struggled a little bit in school academically last year. Really, really gifted. He mowed yards all summer, worked his off.
Right.
And he's doing that with you now, and y'all are kind of working on some things. And I'm really proud of that. I think I don't care how old you are or where you come from or what the background is. What you've put together is really dynamic.
That's awesome. And I love that he's like, because I wish I had this when I was 14.
Me too.
Right? I mean, imagine the stuff we could have avoided. Right? How many sand traps could we have avoided if we knew about it? Right? So, but that's my kids are about the same age and they're going through it, and you're man, Porter's going through it. It's just awesome, dude. I love to see the next generation hitting it out of the park, man.
Well, I think that for him, he and I talked about this a couple of days ago, and I said, Porter, I think what you're going to get out of this is you're going to learn to think differently, and really, that front sight focus that we talk about. It's being able to really hone down that. And I said, Porter, there's 3 things a week that Andrew's going to ask you. What are the 3 things you can work on this week and really impact and really change? Homework, maybe doing his chores around the house. And I know for maybe your listeners that go, well, yeah, he's 14. What could he possibly have going on in life?
Shoot,
it's
man.
all relative. We all have different seasons of life, and I want him to adopt those now because he takes it down the road.
Right. And listen, at 14, it's rough because you're still trying to figure out. The peer pressure is ridiculous because nobody. All right. So, and this is the numbers on self-esteem, which we talk about all the time. But 85% of 2-year-olds have a healthy self-esteem. Only 5% of 15-year-olds.
Why is that? Okay, and I know that's somewhat of a loaded question, but think about that. 85%.
Well, because 85% of 2-year-olds, because, they're walking around and we call it the terrible twos, and they're like, I don't know, the planet ain't about me. I want my M&Ms and I want it now. So what we do is we beat it out of them either physically or psychologically or mentally. We tell them, hey, the planet isn't about you.
Somebody told me, or I read somewhere, Andrew, that segues into what you just said, that by about age 5, as a 5-year-old, you've kind of figured out this is who I'm really going to be, and this is what I expect myself to be. And I really hope that's not true because I think people can change. It's just
absolutely. But it starts to settle.
Does that make sense?
But it does start to gel at those first 5 years.
Formative years.
Very formative. It starts to gel. And we get it honest though. Remember we were talking about this in the golf swing of thinking that people don't say what the target is; they say what they don't want to do. And we learned it from our parents, and they were doing the best they could. But we cross the street. We look both ways to cross the street. So what? We don't get hit. Is that the target?
Right.
No, that's not. It's just like, is the sand trap relevant? No. So what we've been taught.
See the obstacles.
Right. And, and I said this a couple weeks ago, and somebody said, I don't know if that's right. And I'm not even using, these are the Association of Psychology's numbers. We think 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day. Up to 80 to 85% of them are negative.
85%.
Yeah, 85%. So even guys like me that we work at it, it's still like 75%.
So the model from age 2, I'm 46. The model flips on me. It goes from I was 85% probably positive early on in life, and now I've gotten to this. So how do you start to work on that?
Well, and that's what we do, and with your kids and my kids, and so what we do is we start at that age and we start letting them know who they are internally, so they don't tag their identity as something external. And this is why we wear, sports paraphernalia. I try to identify with the team. Well, and I love the Patriots, man, and I love Clemson, and I love Alabama, but that's not who I am. Right. And so and so we start to tag ourselves, and then we tag ourselves with Democrat or Republican, or I'm a Presbyterian or Methodist, or and we try to say, or I'm a Baptist, and we try to use these labels to identify ourselves, and those are all externals. So what we do is we to help the self-esteem, we start internal. I said this the other day on Quack Show, was that we have a public life, a private life, and a secret life. Most times, this is what we try to work on: is the public life. What's our public face, our reputation, and how do we act in public? Instead of starting at the inside with secret life and pushing our airspace out, we try to work on the public and what our face is out there, which your secret life will come out eventually. So what we want to do is start in there. That's the root of the problem, and take care of what my internal identity is, what my self-esteem is. So yeah, I got to say it like this with the teenagers, okay? So the number one fear of all human beings is rejection.
Oh, without doubt.
Right, and the brain, we know this in cognitive neuroscience, that the brain registers rejection as physical pain, almost like someone hit your hand with a hammer. It's the same exact feeling. So remember, when you were a teenager and that first crush you had, and you broke up, it did hurt. Yes, it physically hurt. So, and that kind of set the tone. Well, we don't want to feel that again. So, because human beings will avoid pain before they ever approach pleasure.
Where does that come from? I guess, and because we feel like, okay, gosh, I'm being rejected by something, and in our next segment, I've got a really awesome story with somebody I talked to yesterday that I'm going to bring up into. But how does that pleasure and pain thing? You say, well, do more to avoid the pain than gain pleasure. How do you reprogram that? Right, and so that's what Get Warrior Tough is Mental Toughness 101. That's what we work on, is reprogramming
those meta programs, those things that happen automatically. Remember, the 11 million bits of information that we take in every second come down to 126 in our conscious mind. So that leaves all the rest of that 99.9% of information in our non-conscious. I don't want to call it subconscious because it sounds like we're asleep, because we're not. It's just information that we're not paying attention to consciously. And so, well, when you started golfing, man, when you first started the golf swing, it was all conscious. You had to do grip and stance and right, and it was all that stuff, and the way you aligned your hips and the
so many moving parts.
Right, but now you just do it by feel. You don't even think about it.
It is funny you bring that up. This summer I didn't get to play as much this year as I wanted to, but I played a lot, and it was funny. I stood out on the practice range a couple of times, and I said, man, this is almost just fluid. I'm just doing this. I've done this several 100,000 times.
Right.
And you're right. So I guess it is kind of, it's like, I hate the word, call it habit, because that is what it is.
Right.
But it's been built into my psyche.
Right. So let's call it a meta program.
Yeah,
it's a program that's operating in the background. You don't even have to think of it. It's just like when you're driving the car. You know, when we were first learning how to drive, it was like,
you hold on,
right? And it's all herky-jerky. And now you're like, hey, turn down for what?
Yeah.
What up? And everybody's just, you're just, passing the quick trip. You don't even remember it, and you're just cruising home, and you're on autopilot. It's a meta program. And it's the same thing with, when you're running or working out or you're vacuuming and this is what people tell me, is that they have their most creative thoughts when they're doing that. When they put their body on autopilot or one of those meta programs is running, then they could also have more creative thought. So what we want to do is take those meta programs and build them in a way that helps us move forward to our betterment and not to our detriment. But with all the negativity that we've been built in, and listen, one of the biggest things that our moms did is manipulate us with guilt.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Right, so when we do stuff out of guilt all the time, and that's a meta program that we need to destroy. So when you start feel guilty, you say, stop, wait a minute, why am I really doing this? Is it because it's who I am? Is this part of my secret life, or am I doing it to maintain a public face? Because I want them to think a certain way about me. Now, see, the reason that that's a big deal is because we haven't accepted ourselves internally. Once you accept yourself, I'm not looking for it from somebody else externally. So now rejection it bounces off me like water off a duck's back, because once I accept me and I know who I am, and my identity is that I'm a man of excellence who always keeps his word. That's who I am. Right. Whether it's in the role of father, the role of husband, the role of coworker, the role of friend, that's who I am. So once I've accepted that, I like it better when you like me. I mean, I don't really like it when you reject me, but if you do, it's okay.
It's interesting you say that too. We got about 30 seconds to go in this segment, and then I know on the other side of the break, after we come back, I want to develop that more with you as to what, you talk about that being rejected, and it's somewhat of and I've got a friend who's going through some stuff right now, and I want to bring that up to you. The rejection is a really big, key, critical piece, and you've dealt with this. I mean, you see it in athletes, you see it.
Right.
Rejection's a whole lot of things.
A lot of different people,
man. It's not just I asked a girl out on a date, and
she said no. Right, salespeople.
I tried to get this. Yeah,
on and on.
It is a different face for a lot of different reasons, and I definitely want to talk about that, because I think athletes run through it. Maybe the guy didn't make the team. He's feeling left out, but you said, it's more emotional than physical, but yet it feels physical. So we'll come back after the break, I suppose.
Do you want to be warrior tough? Do you want your employees to be warrior tough too? With abilities to handle difficult situations as a well-oiled machine? Andrew Wittman has been teaching leadership, discipline, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and mental toughness for 30 years. His seminars build strong working relationships, high-performance teams, effective communication in crisis, and conflict management skills. He'll change the way you look at yourself, your company, your job, your life. He is dynamic, engaging, and stimulating in his presentation, and he can help you build and develop the leadership skills and high-performance skills needed for your team. He'll give you the tools that will not only increase the positive product output in business, but in your personal life as well. To get complete information on how Andrew can help you, call 864-977-1772 or log on to GetWarriorTough.com.